As always, welcome. How are you, and what's going on?
I'm doing amazing. The market, of course, is tough in Bitcoin and in Bitcoin treasury companies, given the different price actions that we see. I think, as always, I will say to zoom out, but I think it's helpful to bring a bit of different figures in the map. The last times in the last say 10 years that we've had those types of sentiment, because I hear that sentiment has never been so low and so on. But in fact, when the price was at 3,000 and when the price was at 15,000, it was not a full party going on. In fact, at those times, it was quite comparable because it was the lowest 5-year CAGRs that we've had, both in, let's say, 2018, 2022, and now 2026. It's like all going according to the 4-year cycle plan, even if reasons can be different, we don't really know why, and so on. But what I observe is that from 3,000 bottom in 2018 to the 15,000 bottom in 2022, and we are now in a bottoming phase around 60K. All of these areas have done a 3 to 5x multiple every time. So if that continues in the future, and that's not science, but that's what Bitcoiners are prepared for, is to ride the wave in all market scenarios. That could mean that the future bottom could be around 200, 300K. So, I think you can take a bit of perspective, and that's the bottom potential in the future. So I think that the future is bright, and that's, yes, it's potentially in the next 3 to 4 years. But if you want to achieve 50 to 100% annual compounded growth rates, that's what you have to handle. And it's quite difficult, however, I think, for investors, because the market can stay in a bear market longer than investors stay solvent. And unfortunately, the bear markets are long, they are tiring, and you need to get out of sellers. And I think there is also another component, is that the last bull market we've had is with newcomers that didn't go through the Bitcoin fundamentals education as well. It was like it's stamped approved by BlackRock, so I don't have to learn about it and so on. So here I think that we are in a phase where the price is going down, and the fundamentals are not really there. And frankly, even the content is talking about the the integration in financial ecosystem. But before, we were talking about the
Can you
fundamentals
turn
of
off the
Bitcoin,
audio from the show?
and this is now considered as boring
you.
and considered
All
as
right, let's find Leo on here.
something that is already mastered by investors. But I'm not convinced of this. When you see
Leo.
the article of Ray Dalio about basically the
okay.
end of the geopolitical order,
Yep, I
and
got it.
that there will be wars and there will be assets frozen and so on, and Bitcoin is mentioned nowhere. I think it tells you where we are. And by the way, in the next cycle, Bitcoin might bottom at $7 trillion of market cap, and that could be the second largest asset in the world. So very bullish. At the same time, you need to keep being very focused and continue accumulating as we've done over the last 2 weeks.
Sorry, I was muted. As always, interesting to hear. Alex, I have a question for you. How should we look at Bitcoin? Should we look at Bitcoin as something that one Bitcoin is worth like whatever it's now, $70,000, or should we talk about an exchange rate? And I'm asking because look, $1 is 1,500 pesos. Right now it's 1,400
good
pesos,
morning.
whatever. But $1 in Argentina is 1,400 pesos, and this is how you know like how the exchange rate is going.
Hello.
Okay, we went from 40 pesos to 1,500, then to 1,300. Now we're at 1,400, and that is the exchange rate. Bitcoin's exchange rate was basically $1 went from right now is at 1,500 sats. So like
Hey, Leo, can you hear
basically
me?
now 1 satoshi equals 1 peso. It's very interesting, right?
Cool.
We have like a one-on-one.
Yeah,
between the
I'm ready to
peso
do it.
and the
I'm like,
peso and the satoshi.
yeah, I can
We're
hear you.
on par with Bitcoin at the all-time high.
Yeah,
It's
just let me know when you want to do the mic
1
check, and I'll mute my
satoshi is
audio on
like
Slack, and we
1.2
can give it a
pesos,
go.
or 1 peso is 0.8 satoshis. All right, and one day probably we will get to the par with the dollar, like 1 sat, $1. Probably we are going there. We're going there. Maybe it's in 10 years, 20 years, but we are going. Most definitely, we're going there.
You can do it that way, sure. We do Zoom or
and I'm
Discord. I'm
asking this
on
because you know that in
am
Roxom
I
we
on
like to
Zoom
do
right now?
things
Yeah, I'm
the
on
other
the
way
Zoom
around.
currently.
We're
Yeah, you gotta be
now
on Zoom.
launching our USD Bitcoin pair. We're basically instead of like one Bitcoin is like $70,000, what you will see is like the exchange kind of rate, where you're gonna see like, okay, $1 is 1,500 sats. So when Bitcoin is appreciating,
Okay, you ready to try?
It's gonna go down, and when Bitcoin is depreciating, so Bitcoin is going down, it will go up. What do you think about this? What do you think if I tell you, hey Alex, and you ask me, hey, how's Bitcoin doing? I will tell you like, well, you know, like we're at 1,500 right now. We're doing 1,500, 800.
Yes, I think we should start to denominate things in Bitcoin when we talk to each other. At the same time, the issue is that we are not talking to a lot of people like that, but it's the right way to do it. And for a Bitcoiner, as you said, you have to measure the performance of the stocks that you buy on Roxom in Bitcoin. And that's the right way to measure things. On a Bitcoin standard, capital B is outperforming Bitcoin a lot over 1 year. You know, Bitcoin is up in the USD. Bitcoin is down in the USD minus 30 and percent, and capital B plus 40%. So I guess that gives a good Bitcoin-based evolution. You know, the thing is, I would like to talk in Bitcoin terms, and at the same time, you are in the center of the financial traditional system, and the dollar is really just used now as a useful economic calculation tool. But you know, when I was a kid, I used to use the franc. You're lucky because your peso is still alive. My franc is dead. So, you know, overnight the franc disappeared, and now they just replaced the same prices, but with the euro, with a 7x decrease in the value of your currency. So I think that's you know, in France we don't talk about that too much. But before, the bread was 1 franc, let's say, and now the bread is 1 euro. It's just that it was like a 7x devaluation over like 5 years to 10 years. So yes, if you denominate thing in fiat, you are going to lose a lot of value. And it's quite helpful to when I say like it's going to 200, 300 and more. It's a frame of reference that's useful, but what matters is the number of sats per share. It's the number of sats you own, and that's the only thing that matters over a sufficiently long time horizon. The thing is, I think it's quite useful for people to estimate the price of things in the same currency that their expenses are denominated in as well.
Yeah.
But you might be lucky enough to have your expenses as well. Well, I hope in dollars, but at least paid probably in Bitcoin as well. So
Yeah, Alex, I have a question there. like when you think of your shareholders, for example, now, because clearly you are the type of guy who thinks in Bitcoin in terms of like capital B, you were saying earlier, like amount of sats per share or BTC per share, like, do you think your shareholders think that way, or some of them do, some of them don't, like, and they think in the appreciation on the stock market, like, how do you analyze, the whole perspective in the market?
Yeah. Well, since the beginning, our core shareholders have been Bitcoin maximalists, and our core group of individual shareholders as well have been or have become Bitcoin maximalists. That's why, and we are very aligned on that, Borja and Luca. On our dashboard, we've been the first, and I've not seen that again, but or probably with the MNAV dashboard. But we've been the first to add the price of the share in Sats in Bitcoin directly. So 1 year ago, the one share was equal to 500 Sats, and today one share is equal to 1,000 Sats. That's quite good. So that's that we've been the first, and on our dashboard you have the option to select USD, Euro, or BTC as a measure of valuation. And I think the BTC one is the right one. In terms of our shareholders, we have a very strong group of shareholders, both on X and as well on the Discord. Discord is more developed in French, but I hope the English comes back as well. And the French Discord is already like 600 people, and it's very Bitcoin maximalist oriented. Now we have songs for capital B that have been coded with AI from the shareholder community. And it's not a hazard that we've maintained the highest MNAV in the principal Bitcoin treasury companies. That's because shareholders of capital B are more long-term oriented. They know what they own, and they participate in the same Bitcoin maximalist future as we are in. And that's the most important thing. You have alignment of your management and the shareholder base. And in my view, that's the most important thing. At the same time, the price is also set on a daily basis by traders as well. You have long-term accumulators that are acquiring, of course, but at the margin, you have a lot of trading that is happening. And frankly, that's welcome, because the most volatility, the most we acquire Bitcoin as well, both with the ATM or with the attractiveness of our credit instruments. And that's also why we've accumulated quite some Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks, because of volatility and the setup of our ATM with the liquidity of the stock. So alignment is important for the accretiveness of the capital raising operations. And at the same time, liquidity and broad market distribution of the share is also important for the attractiveness for the traders that create as well the optionality and the liquidity of the stock. So it's complementary, I guess.
Alex, this is great, and I have a question for you. Like, you have plenty and plenty and plenty of investors, but if you had to like say like what's the ratio of your investors that are like, you would say like, hey, X% of the people are watching like the performance of the stock in Bitcoin, and X% are looking at the performance of the stock in like dollar, euro, whatever. How would you say that is distributed?
Well, first of all, I would say that all investors look at both. They look at the price of the share and the sats per share, because you have like this long-term measure of sentiment, basically the price. It's like information of the current market valuation in the traditional sense. and the sats per share, which is the indication of the overall value accretion of the company over time. But if we had to distinguish between the two, like the primary measure, 50-50, I think, is a good measure, because we have at least 60% of the fully diluted shares are owned by strategic Bitcoin maximalists investors, Adam Back, Fulgor Ventures, and part of the management, of course, and Tobam. And we are Bitcoin maximalists oriented for the very long-term future in the Bitcoin standard. And on top of that, you have, of course, individual shareholders that are in the retail and institutional broader category. And part of this, I guess, you could even have like 70% or 80% of the shareholders actually that would be on a Bitcoin standard. It's the classic 80-20 Pareto rule. And I think it applies quite well to Capital B. So I would say probably at least 50-50 and probably up to 80%. We are focused on increasing Bitcoin per share. And then you have also 20% that might be important as well, but it's traded and it moves around and so on.
Guys, Bitcoin is forever. Unfortunately, what is not forever is our time in today's show and with Alex. So, Alex, any final remarks that you can tell us for this week? What is the enlightenment of this week?
The enlightenment is I'm being really solicited a lot by traditional media, and Bitcoin is making the headlines everywhere in the sense that it gets the most views. You know, we did. I went on French TV this Monday, last Monday, sorry, and typically that French TV gets on YouTube 3 to 5K views, and that session was 50K views.
Wow.
It's like 10x. So like the level of attention, of interest. I heard Robin just before say, I was not interested in Bitcoin treasury companies, but now it's gone so down that I'm starting to pay attention. And what I find is all Bitcoin maximalists that have been here for quite a long time know that when the sentiment and when the price is down in that way is really the times where you have to take very seriously all of the options possible to sell your shares and buy more Bitcoin. So I guess next time we do the episode on our feet, and yeah, that's I think that's the right time, considering the time that's also needed for the market to absorb that sequence that will be remembered as a generational opportunity, but which is, of course, requiring patience for everybody. So I think that's the most important aspect. And on our side at Capital B, really accelerating the opportunities we have. And I think 2026 will be a great year. And I would like to congratulate as well Metaplanet, who just published their results. And they show great operational income. And I think that's quite telling of the future opportunities of Bitcoin treasury companies overall. People completely underestimate all of the options that Bitcoin treasury companies will develop, adopt over time in different fashions. But I think strategy has set a great example over the years, and Metaplanet as well. And I aim for Capital B, as we've done with the Bitcoin convertible notes, to also continue to set the standard in the best ways to drive the potential forward for a Bitcoin treasury company, while a lot of participants start to doubt and so on. we are going to double down. So that's our focus, our energy, and vive le Bitcoin. Let's go. Let's continue.
Vamos al ataque. Alex, thank you so much as always, and see you next week. And yeah, guys, we're very much looking forward to get Capital B on Roxom. Many of our users and customers are asking for that. Coming soon, I promise. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alex.
Cheers.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao, guys. Till next week.